Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Knight.
Well. Good damn morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Knight on the internet. And I told you what was going to happen. And of course, it happened. We knew every time. It's the Obama way, okay? I knew it. I told you. I just can't. I just can't. But there may be a little more sinister. Sinister. I don't know. There was a more political reason why all of a sudden they've dropped this new number that I'm going to talk about later. And we'll get into it eventually, but we got a lot of show to do, and I'm glad you all are here. Welcome to the show. I want to say hi to everybody and get this thing started. But first, I got to thank our good friend, Avocados Diablo, dropped a Hamilton in the tip jar. And Gunfox61, you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Dropped a Hamilton and said, yeah, Marty, hope you took your blood pressure meds. Chat you as well. And he dropped a little article in here that I will oblige during the show. That's how, if you want to hijack the show, well, Hamilton is always a good way to do it. So that will be one of the first articles we get to after we get to some trending stuff. But first, of course, I got to say good morning to the people who have made it into the show today. I know not everybody's here yet, but it's just how I do. If you're here early, you get a shout out. Today's coffee, by the way, is brought to you by the Camellia Grill in New Orleans, Louisiana. It's in the northeast part of the town, a little area with where the trolley ends, and you go down there, and there's a nice little breakfast spot, and it was really good. And then across the street, I can't remember the name of the bar, but we went and had breakfast at Camilla Grill, and then we went to a bar across the street, and hung out there for a beer too, because after you're in New Orleans on vacation, you should go eat breakfast, then you go have a beer. That's what we did. This was back when we were celebrating our 25th anniversary, which was holy shit, that was 6 years ago. It's getting crazy. So Lady Boomer and I were there, and my friend Mario, who's from New Orleans, I went to college with him, and I've kept in touch with him since school, which is a very long time. That was 40 years ago. He recommended a bunch of different spots in New Orleans, all these local spots. He's from there. He went and moved back there after he finished. He used to be on. He used to work for U.S. Customs, and he worked out of New Orleans. And went back to his hometown, and he gave us this list of all these local spots. And oh my God, man, restaurants in New Orleans are amazing. And the ones he recommended, they weren't all like big fancy places. One was like this house that they turned into a restaurant. The first floor, there was seating down there, and then you had to go upstairs to go to the bar and wait when you're waiting. And they had the best Bloody Mary I think I might have ever had. And then they had this. What did I had? So they had this thing. It was like this breakfast thing, but then it had fried clams around the edge of the bowl. It was amazing. But man, if you ever go to New Orleans, they know how to cook. They know how to make food in that town. It's a great food town. So anyway, let's say hi to everybody and then get this thing started. First, the chat today is, of course, Mr. Avocados Diablo, who gets the bell. Also, good morning, Kara Soldier. Wait, where's the duck call? No duck call today. Mike Savage, Blarg. Hello. Special Can Acid. Lord Stanhope's in the house. Good morning also to Suzanne. Welcome back. Nice to have you here. Tyre Alexander is in the house. The Scourge. There you go. Also, good morning, Big Dave. What's up? Attack Alpacas in the house. Unacceptable Views, one of my Canadian friends, and Johnny Boomertech. Of course, Johnny Boomertech's right over there, so I see him every day. Also, good morning, Green Badger Outdoors. That's everyone who has deigned to show their face so far in the chat. So, welcome everybody. Everybody needs somebody. Everybody needs somebody. Someone to love. Someone to love. Dana Bowen. How are you? That's a new name. I've never seen you in my chat before. Welcome to the show. All right, so let's talk about what's happening in the world now. Today is... Wait, what happened to it? Did I accidentally get rid of it? Oh, criminy. Hang on a second. I got to fix this right now. Sorry, you're just going to have to watch the show for a second. You're just going to have to... What? Willie won't go home's in the chat. What's up? All right, international. I got to type this in. Day. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to do... Because I always try to do, what the special day of the day is if you're new here. And so I got to get this right. Today is the International Day for Victims of Terror. Let's see, make sure my screen works there. Yes, it does. Today's International Day for Victims of Terror. That's the special day today. And you can someone here said, now what's this? International Day. Now, the Israel ambassador to the UN, Gilad Danwan, is in its exhibition for International Remembrance Day for Victims of Terror. The UN did not even include a single Israeli terror victim. Wow, this is wild. Okay, so here it is. Here's what this guy's saying here. Let's watch this for a second. Here we go.
Okay,
I'm sorry, he's speaking in Hebrew. So I didn't realize I was going to have to translate. He says, I'm standing here at the visitor's entrance to the UN. Here, I'll just mute him. To the place where everyone who comes for a tour passes through. Tomorrow, the UN will mark the International Day of Remembrance, a tribute to victims of terrorism with the high-level discussions taking place. There's even an exhibition right here at the visitor's entrance, reminding everyone of the victims of terrorist attacks around the world. There are familiar terror attacks here, like 9/11, Boston, and attacks that occurred in Indonesia, Kenya, and many more. But what's missing? Not a single mention of any attack carried out by Palestinians against Israelis. We are here about to mark 1 year since the massacre and the largest terrorist attack against Jews and Israelis since the Holocaust. Yet the UN doesn't think it needs to be displayed on its walls. But what did the UN manage to find? Surprise, they found a Palestinian terror victim, misleadingly saying Palestine here so that people might think in Israel. But when you read the fine print, it turns out she was actually injured in an attack in New Zealand. This is why I always say that there is no place more corrupt and morally twisted than the UN. And we must all unite to spread this message worldwide, demanding the closure and dismantling of the establishment of the new body that truly represents noble values. So that's insane. That's wild because, obviously there's terrorist attacks in Israel quite often. Someone here says on the International Day of Victims of Terrorism, we honor those lost and affected by acts of terror. We must remember their stories and the impact on their loved ones. Never forgive, never forget. So that is the special day of the day. Moving on. Also today is Ray Bradbury's birthday. People honoring Ray Bradbury, obviously one of his more famous works is Fahrenheit 451, talking about the burning of books. And so a lot of people, obviously Democrats, are claiming that Republicans want to burn books, which, it's not true. Just, there's a difference between banning books and choosing what your children read at appropriate ages. No one, in fact, I'm trying to figure out. And by the way, that's funny too, because there are actually places that have banned books. And most of them are liberal enclaves, like in California. They banned To Kill a Mockingbird in schools, period. Banned them, period. And won't put them in libraries, in the regular libraries. But versus deciding that you don't want basically porn manuals in at appropriate ages at schools. So I guarantee you, if you are a parent and you want your child to read one of those books that they don't want necessarily to put in the schools, I guarantee it that they haven't made it so you can't order it on Amazon or go to the public library maybe and find something like that. Probably not in the children's section, but I guarantee that. But anyway, Ray Bradbury, you don't have to burn books to destroy a culture. Just get people to stop reading them. Ray Bradbury was born on this day in 1920, so that's a significant birthday. Also, I have two birthdays. This is what I forgot from yesterday. I didn't forget. I just didn't put it out there. It is John Kinsel's birthday. Now, if you don't know who John Kinsel is, John Kinsel, by the way, turned 107 years old yesterday. He is one of the Navajo code talkers from World War II, John Kinsel Sr. And in fact, they have now they've done this. They've fully renovated a home for our Navajo code talker, John Kinsel. He built a log cabin himself. This is the first time it has had running water. Such an amazing victory. I wish more of our elders and veterans could experience this with their homes. So he is. If you've never seen the movie Wind Talkers, talking about the Navajo code talkers, they were they were Native. I'll say Native Americans, but let's just say they were here before the white man. And but they used the Navajo language as code during World War II, and it's such an intricate language that nobody, none of the forces, none of the bad people, what do you call them? The Axis powers, the Axis powers could never decode the Navajo code. And so they were heroes in World War II, and their stories, obviously, again, in the movie Wind Talkers. And then they have a couple, different people are putting examples of these. But John Kinsel, 107 years old. Yesterday we celebrated Sister, what's her name? Sister Irene or whatever, who's 105. There's some old people out there. That's pretty wild. So happy birthday to John Kinsel, and thank you for your service, sir. Seriously. No, that's dead serious. All right, let's move on. Thank you. JB donated a $5 Canadian. Thank you, sir. Get a bell and one of these. Ka-ching. JB says, To Kill a Mockingbird? I got AI to write it, so the black man really did commit the murder. Spicy. I know. What? Come on, man. Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? Excuse me. Suzanne says, P-Dog, up in Canada where I am, we can't find the book 1984 George Orwell book. You said 1985. I think you meant 1984, right? There's places that want to ban Orwell too. That because I guess too many conservatives like it. I don't know. That's weird. Anyway. All right. Moving on, next on the docket, Xmail is trending. Now, there is no Xmail yet, but Elon Musk dropped this little hint that he's thinking about making an email service. He says, what do you think of this Xmail app logo? It looks too much like Google to me. It looks like Google colors. I don't want Xmail. By the way, and hi, JB. I got you. You live to torment. That's good. it looks like a Gmail logo, but with just made out of an X. Now, is this the act? No, this is a fake email. This is a fake Elon Musk. Now, there's a whole bunch of fake Elon Musk out here asking, what do you think of this Xmail logo? So here's another one. Oh, this one's cute. Oh, what do you think of this Xmail logo? Oh my God, you weirdos. So I get it. That's because Elon Musk is racist. Oh my God, I get it. I just got the joke. Yes. Wait, where is it? Where? There it is. Why isn't it working? That's racist. So anyway, I guess Elon Musk is talking possibly about doing Xmail. Here's another Elon Musk parody. A simple poll: would you use Xmail over Gmail? I don't know. Is there an actual Elon Musk asking about Xmail? Anybody? Because I know they've talked about having an X phone, and he's thinking of branching out. Good morning, Shrapnel. What's up? All right, enough about that. Next on the list of trending things, Oprah Winfrey's trending. Now, this whole next series of things are all things that are trending because of the Democrat National Convention. And Oprah Winfrey spoke last night. And it's funny because I think it's important that we, especially in the Democratic Party, that we have a lot of diversity and people who X to down. There you go. And lots of people who are downtrodden and because Michelle Obama was saying her mother doesn't trust people with too much money. This with the Obamas and their $70 million net worth and $100,000 a speech. But then they had Oprah Winfrey, who's just, I know she's bootstrapping it still to this day and can't get ahead because, being a black woman and shit. But anyway, Oprah spoke at the convention last night. A few people talking about that. Now, let's talk about the negative Nellies first. We love... Actually, I like Megyn Kelly. I think she's awesome. But anyway, Megyn Kelly says, of course, Oprah had to mention the racism and misogyny she's faced from a country that made her the world famous and a mega billionaire and shown her enormous love and adoration. I know. But no, Megyn, you don't get it. She's a melanated person, and we melanated people are always downtrodden no matter how rich we are. Well, I shouldn't say we because I'm not rich. You guys can help that, though. Help me out. Throw a buck in the tip jar today. Somebody do a first-time donation. That'd be awesome. Dana Loesch, kind of weird Oprah with her Hawaiian estate and multiple homes, expensive wardrobes, frequent luxury vacations, etc., to talk about income equality. Yeah, it is funny. I don't, maybe she should give up some of her money. Now, she did open that girls' school over in, I think, South Africa, but then they had some... Let's talk about Oprah Winfrey for a second, because it had the sex scandal at her school, right? And she was big friends with Harvey Weinstein, and I think she frequented Epstein Island. I mean, she's like what the hell's going on with Oprah? I don't get it. Why would they have her on there? But last night, and the last couple nights, it was kind of like. You had all these people, remember, because one of the big things they don't like about Donald Trump, and I think he's, like I said, me, I think Trump's a little bit of a jackass, but I still think he's a better choice than Kamala. But, they're going to try to hit Trump on his infidelities and whatever. But you bring out Oprah Winfrey, you bring out Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was a featured speaker last night. My God. In fact, there's a couple things trending because of Bill Clinton. And like half the people they brought out over the last, the Obamas were friends with Harvey Weinstein. The Obamas were friends with Epstein. It's like you're stepping on your own dick. That's a euphemism because I know Oprah doesn't have a dick. She's one of the people that doesn't have a dick, but we're not so sure about some of the rest of them. Anyway, so and even Jimmy Dore. Oprah's property in Maui alone is bigger than New York City's Central Park. She's been a powerful, super wealthy celebrity my entire life. Of course, she's a victim. This is what you talk about when you have no policies to talk about. So here's an example of Oprah Winfrey talking about being downtrodden.
From the redwood forest, love those redwoods.
Yeah,
to the
you probably
Gulf Stream
own half of
waters.
it.
I've seen racism and sexism and income inequality and division. I've not only seen it, at times I've been on the receiving end of it. From the
Oh
redwood
my God! From your 3,000 acre estate in Maui, right? Is that where you saw it? How did people get near you? All of your estates are like hundreds of acres. I guess you saw it when you're young or something. Now, granted, we know that Oprah was friends with the girls who got killed in that bomb incident in the 60s in Atlanta. So we know she's seen racism. But it would seem that Oprah Winfrey, of all people, would be like relishing the fact that she is the fucking American dream. Anyway, what else you say here? Oh, this is the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just crazy to me. So anyway, and by the way, remember how much Oprah Winfrey used to like Donald Trump? Here's back when Donald Trump was on Oprah Winfrey's show talking about if he'd ever run for president.
Last year criticizing U.S. foreign policy. What would you do differently, Donald?
I'd make our allies, forgetting about the enemies you can't talk to so easily, I'd make our allies pay their fair share.
Now notice, wow, that's interesting. So this was back, I want to say, early 90s maybe, early 90s Oprah, maybe it was late 80s Oprah. Notice the first thing out of his mouth, and this is something he put a full page ad, there's nothing wrong with America's foreign defense policy, that a little backbone can't true. That he was talking about them paying their share of their defense back then.
Something's going to happen over the next number of years with this country, because you can't keep going on losing $200 billion, and yet we let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade. If you ever go to Japan right now and try to sell something, forget about it, Oprah. Just forget about it. It's almost impossible. They don't have laws against it. They just make it impossible. They come over here, they sell their cars, their VCRs, they knock the hell out of our companies. And hey, I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not. But I do get tired of seeing the country ripped.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And
anyway, this clip's in the link there. I wouldn't need to go through the whole thing, but yeah, interesting. She was like, oh, by the way, here's Oprah and Donald Trump back in the day. Remember how much Donald Trump hates black people? He's there hugging Oprah Winfrey. Like, that's a serious hug. She's looking her cheesing to her too. She cheesing like Eddie Murphy in Beverly Hills Cop, you know? Got the teeth showing and shit. She used to like Donald Trump. So anyway, all right. We're going to move on. Next thing on trending topics, also related to the Democratic National Committee. Now, Barron Trump and Kyle Rittenhouse are trending. Both of them. And the reason, now look, not a fan of Tim Walz, but some people were kind of making fun of his son for crying during Dad's speech. So here's the clip. Maybe. Come on.
World, and I love you.
This clip right here. So they were talking about
world, and I love you.
His son's very happy that his dad's up there and very proud. And look, it's obviously tears of joy
on how we started a family, because this is a big.
And so a lot of people were touched by it. And look, I'm not a fan of Tim Walz, but I could see being that happy for my dad. And also the fact, now some people are saying, oh, compare Barron Trump to Walz's kids. Now the daughter is a little strange, but everyone has not everybody has a strange kid, but they definitely have a strange kid. So people are comparing Barron Trump to Tim Walz's kid. You know what? That doesn't help anything. And someone here says, now one person on this thread though says, Gus Walz is neurodivergent. Now that's, a new buzzword in young circles. He deals with ADHD, anxiety, and a nonverbal learning disorder. Kids and teens like Gus might struggle with controlling their feelings in social situations. So, for whatever that's worth, okay? But people are making fun of him and then comparing him to Kyle Rittenhouse, and whatever. Let me understand. Kyle Rittenhouse defended his life against criminals, cries in court, and the left makes fun of him. Gus Walz cries, "That's my dad. He's a hero." Tim Walz. Do you know Coach Walz is a stolen valor commie lover, right? Okay. Yeah. So anyway, that's why those two are trending. Whatever. Moving on. Yale is trending. Now this has to do with what Tim Walz did last night. He's done it more than once. And so this is interesting. Tim Walz has more than once chided J.D. Vance or tried to make J.D. Vance into some kind of elitist because he went to Yale. Okay, so here's the clip that here's part of that speech where he let's see, here it is. Let's start here. Here it is.
I had 24 kids in my high school class, and none of them went to Yale.
Okay. So he's talking about growing up in Butte, Nebraska, which is out in West Nebraska. It's funny thing is, I've actually been to Butte, Nebraska. That's weird. But the question here, it's kind of a weird moment where they're attacking J.D. Vance for becoming successful. You got to remember where J.D. Vance came from. He's not some silver spoon kid who grew up in the Upper West Side, and daddy got him into Yale because daddy went to Yale and is a lawyer and has, $30 million in assets. They donate some of it to Yale. J.D. Vance grew up in the hills of Kentucky. Like literally a hillbilly. Joined the Marines, stayed in the Marines 4 years, then went to Ohio State University after he got out of the Marines, and then got into Yale Law School. Okay? His mama, as he likes to call her, was probably one of those old tobacco chewing grandmas who would kick you in your butt if you did something wrong. He made something of himself. He's another, like Oprah. Oh, and then he started this company and made millions of dollars after growing up in the hills of Kentucky. That, like Oprah Winfrey, he's an American dream, right? And yet Tim Walz is attacking him for going to Yale, like he's some elitist or something. So, and here's one of the commentators on this particular subject. Let's listen to this one. I think, who is this? I can't remember who this is.
Constant attacks on J.D. Vance for going to Yale. I don't understand this. I've heard Walz proclaim to be a small-town guy who wants everybody to get an education and succeed. And he spends a fair amount of time attacking J.D. Vance, who grew up poor and worked hard to get an education and rise above his station in life. And he has used it as a punchline on the campaign trail. And I don't understand what he's trying to communicate to every small-town poor kid out there, saying, if you choose to work hard and go to an Ivy League school, you somehow abandon your hometown. I don't get it.
Speaking as one of those small-town kids who actually went to Yale,
yes,
I do take exception to that. I think you are correct on that.
Van Jones is going to get in trouble again for agreeing. Holy shit.
He does this. So anyway, so weird to me.
All right. So anyway, that's that. It's such a weird attack. Now this one says they are proud of equality of outcomes. I had 24 kids in my class. None of them went to Yale. This is un-American. So we're going to get in. Okay, so that's trending. And that's the Ivy League's trending for the same reason. I'm going to skip that one. Chris Cuomo's trending. Now Chris Cuomo impressed me today. Hello, Bishop. What's up? Ha, Yale. Yeah, like that's a bad thing. And Tex AD below set Evan is in the house. Good to see you. So here we go. Chris Cuomo is trending too. Now he said something. This is a very interesting diatribe by Chris Cuomo. And it's funny how Chris Cuomo has kind of changed since he was at This Is CNN. And I still don't think he's always the brightest guy, but he's certainly, let's just say his opinions have evened out a little bit. He's more than happy to point out the hypocrisy of the Democrats. And here it is. This is interesting. And again, and also the Republicans, but whatever. Hello, Darren Root. Here we go.
A big theme here at the DNC.
And by the way, I want you to do something. I meant before I start this. Pretend this is anybody but Chris Cuomo talking and see if he's right here. If he makes sense here. This is an amazing diatribe. I'm telling you, when you hear this, you're gonna be like, who's this guy? Who the hell is this? Seriously, listen to this.
A big theme here at the DNC is that they're going to go after corporate gouging. And they're going to go after corporations, whether it's in taxes, largesse, loopholes. The RNC, we heard the same thing. They're going after the elites, the two sets of rules. Let me reveal a reality to you.
Here it
that
is.
has to be spoken to here.
Listen to this.
These are the soldiers. These are the men and the women that go back to their constituencies and their communities, and they fight. They take time from their jobs. They take time from their families. Republicans and Democrats alike, that's what they do. They need to charge these people up. They need to be able to get them on board. But there's another reality that is literally looking down on them. Greg, look at the ring of sweets, okay? This is not unique to Democrats. There is a game of money. When people talk about uniparty, we are strangled by the money reality in our politics. Those suites start at 500 grand. You think there's like a teacher group up in there?
Nope.
You think it's like the Cub Scouts
of
Columbia County, South Carolina? That's up in those boxes?
Nope.
Some of them are lobbies and good things.
Some of them.
The media boxes, you think they're free? Why do you think I'm on the floor? News Nation is not a broke company. Nexstar is a massive organization. We are corporate media. We don't have one of those boxes because that's the game.
That's where the real money is.
To play. Those boxes are filled with the same people that they say they're going to regulate.
That's why the tax laws are where they are. Just like Donald Trump said in 2016 when Hillary Clinton was talking about him not paying taxes 1 year because he had losses 1 year or whatever it was. And he said, yeah, or he only paid $750, whatever. He only had to write a check for $750 at that time. And he said, yeah, I use the tax laws. I use the same tax laws that you people have been putting in place for years because all of your donors demand it. And so, yes, of course, yeah, if the system's rigged, that little Dave Chappelle's bit on this was spot on. Because those are the tax laws you wrote. And that's what your donors do. So yeah, it's absolutely that.
They are literally looking down on the faithful and being told, yeah, we're going to break down on them. We're going to make them pay their share. They paid $500, $700, $1 million, $1.5 million
for the suites.
They get
Look at up there looking down on them. There's like 7 people in that suite, and they paid $1 million.
Party, and the same thing is true with the Republican side, and they're going to take them down. They're going to change how it is. They
Listen
are
to Chris
down
Cuomo
from on high at the people who make the difference in their communities. And that is the reality of politics. And I had my producer walk around and show you those suites. Now, they're not all the same. They're not all the same. But the reality is,
I bet there's a few pharmaceutical companies up there.
They spent $300 million on presidential campaigns. 24 years later, you know what they're expected to spend? $10 billion.
With a B.
You know how much money Harris has
With a
raised in the
B.
last couple of weeks? Hundreds of millions. And that's success. A lot of it's small donor, a lot of it isn't. The most dangerous money in politics is now legal money because of Citizens United. You've got to know this. The idea that they can fight against it is almost laughable. It's almost laughable. So look and listen when you are told these things. Because I don't care what they promise
Look
you.
at this. Penthouse suite, 500,000. Club level suite, 1 million to 1.5 million. Lower level suite, 2.5 million. Two lower level suites, $5 million. Damn. And Avocados Diablo with a timely small bullet in the tip jar. Thank you for sponsoring the show. Who says? Never forget, both the DNC and the RNC are corporations. You are spot on, sir. You are spot on. Never forget that. But look, as I also say too, so now I heard that Kamala Harris wants to raise the corporate taxes from 17% to 28%, right? And I could have sworn just a few days ago when they were talking about Donald Trump wanting to put tariffs on foreign goods that come into this country and, put a tariff on them and that would, be revenue. But then they're saying, oh no, that'll cause inflation. That'll cause the price of goods to go up. Well, won't raising American corporate taxes also cause the price of goods to go up? But how does that work? Because I saw, was it David Frum, that little jackass? Or no. It wasn't David Frum. What's that other dude's name? Oh, I'll figure it out. But the little gadfly motherfucker. Anyway, he was complaining. Oh yeah, it's a bad idea because it'll cost more, Americans more money. Yeah, so will a 28% tax on corporations too. But can we just look? If they didn't tax every damn thing, if they would just tax one thing, and then the rest of it, we'd just be like, I would get it. That's why I kind of prefer a consumption tax versus an income tax. Income tax is like, oh, you get penalized for being successful, versus a consumption tax where you get taxed on things because you're buying more stuff and not everyone buys more stuff. That just seems like it's more fair. But maybe it's just me. I don't know. And if they left out essentials, clothing and whatever, that'd be cool. But just do the consumption tax. High prices via tariffs on imported goods by American. Right. That's exactly, Mike. Exactly. All right. That's why Chris Cuomo's trending. Sheriff is trending. Now, there's this sheriff that spoke at the DNC last night. His name is Sheriff Javier Salazar. Who spoke at the DNC, and he was a big hit because, he said Kamala Harris would be great on immigration because she cares about immigration. She's prosecuted. She's been to Mexico, and she's prosecuted drug dealers. Okay, so this is part of the speech last night that got everybody in the DNC all excited and frothing at the mouth. Here we go, Mr. Salazar. Maybe. Come on.
When Donald Trump comes down to Texas, stands next to officers in uniforms just like mine, he's not there to help us. Don't think that. Not for a second.
Well, what is he there to do? Does Kamala come down there to help you too? Now, this is dumb. I interrupted. Let him finish. Let him cook. Let him cook.
He is a self-serving man.
Huh. Hello, woodcutter.
I mean, look, just like when he killed the border bill, he just made our jobs harder.
How did he make your job harder? Oh, because you want to be able to process people fast. Of course, now, wait a minute. This guy's not a Border Patrol guy. He's a sheriff. But he didn't make your job harder. What do you think the last 3.5 years did to your job? He made your job harder. You know what he didn't do when he was in office? He didn't make your job harder by making more people come across the border. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Now, Kamala, on the other hand, has been fighting border crime for years.
Has she now?
She's gone down to Mexico and worked to stop the traffickers.
What?
And when the traffickers didn't stop, she put them in jail.
Did she? She put traffickers in Mexico in jail. How did she do that? And when did she do that? When did she do that? I don't understand.
Now, down in my neck of the woods, we call that fooling around and finding out.
Yeah, no. They wanted to say, "Oh, fuck around and find out."
Paraphrase in a bit.
I'm trying to. When did she go put traffickers in Mexico in jail? How did she do that?
Sheriffs that I know.
This guy's full of shit.
And we're like Kamala. We protect and serve. We enforce the law. We show compassion.
Well, no, you haven't enforced the law for 4 fucking years. And Madam Border Czar, who's not the Border Czar now for some reason, ain't done shit. What are you talking about?
We fight like hell to protect our border.
You don't.
We've always known in Texas. Cuando luchamos, ganamos.
Oh, speaking
When
Spanish,
we fight,
great.
we win.
Okay, so that was him yesterday. Okay. Well, that's interesting because not that long ago, Sheriff Salazar had a little bit different approach. Here he is back in just a short 2 years ago.
Sir, tell us about what you are asking for. What are your needs?
Well, right now, thank you for having me, first off. Right now, what I'm asking for is for the president or a member of his administration that can make decisions to come down and talk to not just me, but at least 12 other Texas sheriffs from major counties in the state of Texas.
Come down to where?
That are dealing with this issue.
Wait. They hadn't been to Texas yet? They hadn't been to the border yet?
Firsthand. So I'd like to see somebody from Washington come down here, get boots on the ground, get eyes on
You mean like the borders are?
On the issue at hand, and then talk to us, a bipartisan group of Texas sheriffs that are really taking a common sense approach because we have to.
What now? A common sense approach? What the fuck does that mean?
Sir,
also, let's see. There's other clips, not just that one. Here, let's see. Where's that was on the. Oh, I guess a lot of people are putting the MSNBC clip because they hadn't been there. They had not been there. So a lot of people are pointing that out. So that's why Sheriff Salazar is trending. Jewish governor's trending. Now, sometimes, again, Donald Trump, he says things that you think, oh, this is going to be terrible. And you wonder. So Jewish governor is trending. And that's because, now they're saying, I wonder if they're pointing out why, he was just trying to point out why Governor Josh Shapiro wasn't chosen as the vice president candidate. So they're saying that Donald Trump attacks Shapiro on social media, calling him a highly overrated Jewish governor of Pennsylvania, claiming he's done more for Israel. Stop for a moment. Stop for a moment. He's lost his ability to use innuendo. He ever had it. That the sentence doesn't make sense. So yeah, he said the highly overrated Jewish governor of the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, made a really bad and poorly delivered speech talking about freedom and fighting for Comrade Kamala Harris for president. Yet she hates Israel and will do nothing but make its journey through the complexities of survival as difficult as possible, hoping in the end that it will fail, judged only by her actions. Yet Shapiro, for strictly political reasons, refused to acknowledge that I'm the best friend that Israel and the Jewish people have ever had. I have done more for Israel than any president, and frankly, I've done more for Israel than any person, and it's not even close. Okay, again, this is Donald Trump speaking in hyperbole, but whatever. Shapiro has done nothing for Israel and never will. Shapiro did serve in the Israeli army at one point, but that's why he's not the vice president candidate. Comrade Kamala Harris, the radical left Marxist who stole the nomination from Crooked Joe, will do even less. Israel's in big trouble. Okay, that's just what he put on Truth Social. So, and then someone here says, laughing my ass off, it only took Donald Trump 4 words to wade into identity politics in this one. I'm sure this very normal and not at all unhinged message will appeal to Jewish Americans. Keep at it. Well, I got to tell you, he knows he's going to be criticized for this. And someone says, the highly overrated Jewish governor is going to make sure Trumpy gets federal housing as the inmate he deserves to be. Well, I don't know how that's going to be, but here's Josh Shapiro speaking.
Are you ready to do your part? Are you ready to form a more perfect union? Are you ready to build an America where no matter what you look like, where you come from, who you love or who you pray to, that this will be a place for you? And are you ready to look the next President of the United States in the eye and say, hello, Madam President? Are you ready?
Got a little excited there. I don't see anything wrong with that part of his speech. I mean, I'm not a fan of Kamala Harris, and I don't think that, Josh Shapiro is correct here. But as far as, firing up his base, firing up them Democrats in the room, he did a good job of it. But, obviously, look, what are we talking about when Donald Trump does this? When he says the highly overrated Jewish governor? Is everybody talking about Donald Trump right now? He is a master of manipulation. He got y'all looking at him for this. And also, now they get to ask him about that question, right? That's what the media is going to do. He suckers the media into things like this. So they'll ask him about the highly overrated Jewish governor comment, right? What does that give Trump an opportunity to do? To explain why Kamala Harris passed over Josh Shapiro, which everyone thought she was going to choose, right? In fact, she was going to make her announcement. She made her announcement for her vice presidential pick. They scheduled it to be in Pennsylvania. Everyone, in fact, they had already written, the mayor of Philadelphia had already written something that said that, our great governor who will be a great vice president. And at the last minute, you get Tim Walz. All right? You get Tim Walz. Why did Kamala Harris pass over Tim Walz? Well, to placate the Palestine protesters. Because Josh Shapiro is proud of his service in the Israeli army, which a lot of Americans do. A lot of Americans joined the Israeli army for a while. All right. So I'm going to go back here. Now, this is interesting too. Now, as we talk about that, another thing trending is the word uncommitted. And uncommitted is referring to the delegates at the DNC who pledged to be uncommitted because of the Palestine-Israel issue. So someone here says, this is a good example of it. Under the lights of Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, Uncommitted Movement officially announces that the DNC has said no to welcoming a Palestinian voice to the stage. Oh, what happened to diversity and inclusion and equity? Well, equity to run. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. No Palestinians are going to make the stage. No one gets to talk about Palestinians on the stage at the Democratic National Committee. Uncommitted delegates have started a sit-in outside the United Center after the DNC said no to their request for a Palestinian American to speak on the main stage. Abbas Alawi, leader in the movement, called a Democratic Party contact during a press conference to plead his case again. So here it is. There it is. Hang on. Okay.
I'm someone who works within the system, and I was asking a very reasonable ask not to be suppressed. I was asking a very reasonable ask on behalf of our Palestinian siblings not to be suppressed. And the vice president's decision to suppress us is unacceptable. And so I've run out of options from my position as a delegate, and so I'm leaning into my power as a regular, everyday person. I'm sitting here, and I'm not going anywhere, Roger. I'm not going anywhere. You all need to change your mind. I hope you change your mind. Call me if you change your mind. Yeah, call me if you change your mind, Roger. Thank you.
So he's pleading with the DNC to have a Palestinian on the stage.
Thank you. Please pass it along. Tell the vice president that I'm sitting outside. I'm not going anywhere. I hope she changes her mind. The Palestinian children need to be heard. Thank you.
Okay, now it's interesting because I don't think all these people are Palestinian, but whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is a thorn in their side right now at the DNC. No American citizen should be allowed to serve in a foreign national army, should have to give up U.S. citizens and do so. Yeah, I don't know if I don't think he's a dual citizen of Israel. Look, I'm torn on that idea, AD. And I know that there's, for example, there've been Americans who went over to fight with the Ukrainians too. Look, I don't care as long as if they're fighting for someone as an ally, I guess. I don't know. That's a tough question. That's interesting. So that is why uncommitted is trending, because there's a whole bunch of uncommitted delegates in Michigan. There's a couple in New York who have said they're not going to support Kamala Harris unless she, gives some notice to, or some recognition to the Palestinian plight. And the DNC has no interest in getting into that game. Why? Well, a lot of those suites that Chris Cuomo is talking about, I'm not finishing that sentence, but a lot of them, there's a large Jewish constituency that also votes Democrat. And it's a game that it might just be a numbers game. But again, here, uncommitted delegates stage a sit-in at the DNC. They risk arrest. They have been silenced, gaslit, and maligned by the party they're supposed to be a part of. Now they may be subject to police force. All of their counterparts got time on stage. This is the stage they made for themselves. So that's interesting. Moving on. Monica Lewinsky's trending. Wait a minute. Monica Lewinsky and cigar are trending. So guess who was speaking at the DNC last night? Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton spoke at the DNC last night. Let's see. And this is a funny part that I had to laugh because when I saw this just particular one. So Bill Clinton said this.
And then he did something that's really hard for a politician to do. He voluntarily gave up political power.
Voluntarily? Voluntarily? Nancy Pelosi even was laughing about pushing him out yesterday in the interview on MSNBC or this is CNN, one of those channels. Nancy Pelosi even kind of chuckled about it, how they did what they had to do to get him out of the race because they're afraid of losing power. Yeah, Joe Biden voluntarily gave up his political power like you never had sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky. See? That's why Monica Lewinsky's trending. Here it is. And just like that, the entire country of Democrats forget this. Bill Clinton was impeached, found guilty of lying and obstruction of justice, accused by multiple women of sexual acts, one payoff for $800,000+, another Monica Lewinsky in the White House, all while he held office as president. This was while he was still president. Breaking news, Bill Clinton is now speaking at the DNC despite being exposed for flying on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 17 times. Oh my God. Breaking, the guy who cheated on his wife with Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton, is at the DNC. Democrats don't care about women. That is the Marjorie Taylor Greene parody account. Let's see. Number 6. Oh, this is one of the here's one of the panelists. I think David Axelrod was asked about this. Maybe. Let's hear what he says about Bill Clinton speaking at the DNC.
Bill Clinton makes me think about my dad in Western Kentucky. When I was growing up out there, my dad and all the other guys like my dad, blue-collar guys, they love Bill Clinton. Mm-hmm. All Clinton guys. And now my dad and every single one of them that I know, all Donald Trump guys. And when I see him come out here tonight and I think about the audience in this convention, I think the Democratic Party did once have a bunch of people who Bill Clinton would appeal to. I think they're gone. I think the people who, the blue-collar labor piece of the Democratic Party that propelled Bill Clinton in the 90s has completely and totally migrated over to Donald Trump. And so I wonder about the younger audience and how they view somebody like Bill Clinton today, because he's not a blue-collar hero to them. They know a lot of other things about him that, frankly, make me wonder how in the world he still makes these kinds of stages, to be honest. Bill.
Yes. Yes, because your history of Bill Clinton does not appeal to the millennials, or it's Zoomers, Gen Z motherfuckers. Again, the shit he did while he was in the White House is crazy. I will never forget when President Donald Trump refers to Bill Clinton's sex scandals, Monica Lewinsky, Epstein Island. Let's see. Anyway, Bill Clinton, 2 days ago, I turned 78, the oldest man in my family who is still living, and the only personal vanity I want to assert is I'm still younger than Donald Trump. Well, you're way younger than Joe Biden, too. And y'all saying he was sharp a couple days ago. The most prolific and frequent pederast on Epstein's flight logs just got a standing ovation at the DNC. I mean, it's so ironic. It's so freaking ironic. It's unbelievable. All right, moving on. That also is why cigars is trending. Bill Clinton, look, I'm sorry. You're at the DNC, right? And Bill Clinton's walking up on stage, and you just look down at your X account or your Threads account or whatever, and Monica Lewinsky and cigars are trending. You just got to be going, oh God, here we go. Oh God. And then let's see. Low T is trending. Now this is a funny exchange. This is at CNN. This is CNN. One of the proud moments for the DNC, talking about Tim Walz and his speech. And this is, I don't know if this is well, listen to this. You're just going to laugh.
Very different female candidates, but they are doing so in trying to put forward male figures, Tim Walz being one of them, Doug Emhoff last night, who can speak to men out there who might not be the sort of testosterone-laden, gun-toting kind of guy who wants to.
So low T people.
Hulk Hogan and the kind of players that came out of the RNC, or might want to listen to that. But also, in addition,
like the white guys for Kamala call the low T guys.
Understand that it's okay in 2024 to be a man.
Oh, sure, it's okay.
In his own skin who supports a woman. And that's something that they really are trying to work on with male voters beyond.
They want
we were talking about
males to be emasculated.
Definitions of masculinity in 2024,
right.
And what we saw at the Trump convention, which was, as you know, somebody, I forget exactly who said it, testosterone with Kid Rock and the Ultimate Fighting Champion guy.
Yeah, that guy.
And Hulk Hogan.
He doesn't even know Dana's name? Jeez.
Dana White.
Yeah. Remember, Hulk Hogan actually ripped off his shirt, and he had another shirt underneath, which I think is not exactly what the rip off the shirt thing is supposed to be. But in any case, I don't.
Oh, you moron. You moron. The rip off your shirt thing has always been revealing another, well, not always, because in the ring it just bare chest and muscles. But it was revealing the Trump shirt, you freaking, what a dope. Anyway, again, the DNC causing low T to trend. That's fucking great. All right, main topic. Way late in the main topic, but I want to get to this before. Oh, I got to do Gun Fox's article first. Let's do Gun Fox's article. It's kind of related. Everything's related to the economy, but here, let's go Gun Fox's article. California is going to give 0 down payment loans for illegal immigrants to buy new homes. Again, I'm telling you right now, this plan Kamala Harris has, the $25,000, I'm waiting to find out if some media person asks Kamala Harris, so your $25,000 down payment assistance plan, is that also going to be available to illegal border crossers? Is going to be available to them too with no credit histories? So California, this is at Not the Bee, which is the Serious Babylon Bee site. California to give 0 down payment loans for illegal immigrants to buy a new home. Legal residents of California continue to be second-class citizens in their own state. Now I'm not sure about that. That first line may not work because I think it's eligible to legal residents too. But anyway, California the California Senate Appropriations Committee is moving forward with a bill that will give zero interest loans for the purchase of a house to illegal immigrants. Oh, fan-fucking-tastic. Oh, wrong one. Try this. This will be free money for up to 20% of a home's value and will require no repayments. Fresno Assemblyman Joaquin Arambula wrote the bill saying, quote, "The social and economic benefits of home ownership should be available to everyone. As such, the California Dream for All program should be available to all." So they're saying this is eligible for anybody, including illegal immigrants. Oh, what a kind heart. He's so generous with other people's money, isn't he? Any economist worth his salt will tell you that this sort of policy will contribute to home shortages and drive up home prices. But that doesn't matter to these people. They did, however, acknowledge that they don't have the money to do this. They just, then how are they doing it? There will be unknown significant cost pressures, potentially in the millions annually, to provide additional funding for the Home Purchase Assistance Program to accommodate the expanded eligibility population. Meanwhile, this is how thousands of legal California residents and veterans are living in their own state. So anyway, do they have here? Let's see here. Let me see if they have a, oh, and this is from Post Millennial, same article basically. So anyway, yeah, they're going to give zero down loans to illegal immigrants. The move comes from the state chamber, or the move from the state chamber comes amidst an ongoing illegal immigration crisis at the southern border. According to the Center Square, bill author Assemblyman Joaquin Arambula wrote the bill, and in that same quote, "The social economic benefits of home ownership should be available to everyone." Well, it is available to everyone. That's the thing. When they say stuff like this, no, it is available to everybody, but not everybody's going to be able to do it right off the bat. There's kind of some steps you got to take to be able to do that, right? Like, maybe saving some money, maybe figuring out your finances, maybe getting your credit straightened out, maybe doing that. That's available to everybody. But he's saying that you should just be able to get something for free to everybody. That's just weird to me. When undocumented individuals are excluded from such programs, they miss out on a crucial method of securing financial security and personal stability for themselves and their families. Why are they undocumented? Why are they even here? Why would undocumented people have any priority over someone who is here, a legal resident, a citizen? Bill AB 1840 has already passed the state assembly and will now move on to the floor of the Senate for a vote. The program allows applicants to get loans for up to 20% of their home's price with zero down payment on the loan and no payments on the loan. So basically they're saying they're going to give them $20,000 or 20% of the home's price. They're going to give them the down payment for free, and then they move on from there. Again, this is one of those things that we know in the real estate industry, which I was in for several years. Whenever someone has no skin in the game, they don't have any of their own money, they are far, far, far more likely to default on a loan. Why? Because they're not going to lose anything on it. They're not going to lose a dime because they didn't put any money into it. Even if you have to find a way to scrape up, say $5,000 for a 3% down payment, you scraped and saved and whatever, that $5,000, you lose that if you default on your loan. You lose everything you put into the house. But if you just get it free 20% down, well, if you end up not being able to make payments, you get foreclosed on. Well, you didn't have to work to get that money. It's not as bad. It's just psychological. The loan. Let's see. So it allows for applicants to get loans, quote, loans. It's a grant for up to 20% of their home's price with zero down payment on the loan and no payments on the loan. Now, I wonder how many lenders allow this to go through. Well, in California, they'll probably make them. The loan can then possibly be repaid back when the home is refinanced, sold, or transferred, with the borrower paying back the loan amount in addition to 20% of any increased value on the real estate. However, it's not clear what happens if a family decides to keep the property long term, as no provision sets the limit on how long the loan can be used. The California Appropriations Committee analysis stated that there would be unknown significant cost pressures, potentially in the millions annually, to provide additional funding for the Home Purchase Assistance Program to accommodate the expanded eligibility population. 18,000 people have applied for the loan program, costing $255 million through lottery, with 1,700 winners getting $150,000 each to go towards down payment as well as closing. Oh my God. Again, so California is doing shit that doesn't make sense necessarily, and Kamala Harris wants to bring that to a home near you. All right. Two things that I want to get to that are important. One, oh shit, where is it? So remember, I've been talking about the jobs numbers for weeks now, right? Remember them jobs numbers? They said that they have all these jobs, right? All these jobs. And I said to you, my experience in watching job numbers since the 80s, since the 90s, when I was in mortgage banking, and I watched ever since. Even though I'm not on that business anymore, I got out of the business in 2008. But I still look at all these economic numbers, mainly for the show, just because I'm curious always. And what I found is that whenever there's a Republican president, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they have estimates for what the jobs numbers are. Then they have their monthly reporting on what jobs are. And then a month or two later, they have a revision. When there is a Republican in office, they always underestimate the jobs. The jobs numbers that come in at a certain number, might meet or not make the mark that they estimate. But almost every revision is better than the initial job claims that they reported the month earlier. Whenever there is a Democrat in office, particularly Barack Obama and Joseph Rahim Biden, every jobs report usually beats their expectations. They give you a number, this lofty number, and then every time there's a revision, they revise it down, sometimes by half. Okay? Every single time. I've been watching this since 1994, and it's always been that way. Okay? So, we have this article from the Daily Caller. Recession may have already begun. Biden administration admits it overestimated employment by nearly 1 million jobs. Okay, some says 820,000, right? I see Mike Savage. So here it is. The federal government overestimated the number of jobs in the U.S. economy by 818,000 between April 23 and March 24, according to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics released Wednesday, stoking fears of a slowdown in the U.S. economy. Oh, no! Economists at Goldman Sachs and Wells Fargo anticipated the government had overestimated job growth by at least 600,000 in that span, while economists at JP Morgan and Chase had predicted a lesser decline of 360,000, according to Bloomberg. The downward revision follows a trend of the Bureau of Labor Statistics overestimating the number of non-farm payroll jobs added, with the cumulative number of new jobs reported in 2023 by roughly 1.3 million less than previously thought of as of February 2024. There's been a clear pattern of economic data being revised down every time there's a Democrat in office. Worse in the last several years. E.J. Antoni, a research fellow at the Heritage Foundation's Grover Herman Center for the Federal Budget, told Daily Caller News. It is very similar to the onset of the Great Recession, when the Bureau of Labor Statistics was struggling to keep up with rapidly deteriorating economic conditions. Assumptions built into models no longer represent reality, although they may have just a year or two prior. Now, it's so funny how during the Trump administration, it was the exact opposite. The Bureau of Labor Statistics would give you a number, And then a month later, they would revise it up, and sometimes close to double of what it was. So they're lying for a reason. Now, obviously, Joe Biden has been touting the great job that he's been doing on jobs. We've created more jobs than any administration in the history of history. And they've been lying. Now, but let me just give you a little clue why they may have allowed this number to come out, this revision. Because a lot of times, they might keep it quiet for as long as they can during an election year, right? My guess is that the reason this was allowed to be prominent news is because they wanted the Fed to cut their base interest rates. And the potential of a recession would get the Fed to cut interest rates. So people would look at this and go, well, it's down. Because right now everyone's upset that the Fed won't cut interest rates. And what would a cutting of interest rates do? Well, that would also help the current administration and maybe Kamala Harris. It's just fascinating how this became big news yesterday, and everyone was reporting it, which is even crazier. Let me see if I can find it. This is funny. So here's a few different outlets talking about this. This is on CNN. This is one of this guy's on the right, but here, let's listen to different people talking about this.
And today the economy had a terrible jobs report today, right? The downward estimate of close to 1 million jobs that weren't created during the past year in the Biden-Harris administration. Gina Raimondo, when asked about it today, she wasn't familiar with it. She's the Secretary of Commerce, right?
We'll get to that.
4.3%, the highest it's been since 2021. 11% credit card defaults, the highest it's been in, I think, since 2009. So the economy isn't great, and people feel that in their pocketbooks at home. And we're going to leave here with this great sugar high and this hope, and then people are going to have to pay their bills, and so it's going to be tough. And
Okay, so that's them reacting to it. I want to show you though this clip. So this is the U.S. Secretary of Commerce. What the hell's her name? Her name is Gina Raimondo. Gina Raimondo. Listen to how Gina Raimondo responds. The Secretary of Commerce. So, now is not the Labor Secretary, but still very, very important numbers for the Secretary of Commerce. Here's her reaction to this.
When you hear that, do you potentially think that this new numbers could be a liability for this campaign?
No. When I hear that, first of all, I don't believe it because I've never heard Donald Trump say anything truthful.
It is.
Whoa, wait, whoa. What? Donald Trump? What the fuck does that have to do with Donald Trump? In fact, listen to the other part here. Wait, why is people saying good morning?
Though from the Bureau of Labor.
I'm not familiar with that.
When you hear that.
I'm not familiar with that. She's from the Department of Commerce. Oh, she's the former governor of Rhode Island. Hello, Rick Ashbringer. I did not know that. She didn't know that? So here's someone who says, don't forget that today's massive downward benchmark revision, second largest on record, is on top of the existing downward revision to the initial monthly jobs report figures. All the revisions, job growth for the 12-month period was widely overestimated, almost 1.2 billion. Oh, I was like, what? Oh, good morning, selected boy. I got you now. Okay, there we go. Yeah, boy. I was wondering why Avocado Diablo was saying good morning. I mean, didn't we already go through this? Anyway, okay. So now based on the reaction, I should have known that I was over the target. Today we learned that job growth for the past year has been wildly overstated. So obviously this was their political talking point. getting shot to hell. Okay. And finally, I'm going to finish up with this. Robert Kennedy Jr. is trending. And this is interesting. So there's a report out that Robert Kennedy Jr. in fact, he's giving an address today. Apparently he's going to end his presidential bid and may back Trump to stop Kamala. Media sources claim that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is planning to end his presidential bid as an independent by the end of the week and could be looking to endorse former President Donald Trump. Speculation began yesterday after Kennedy's running mate Nicole Shanahan suggested in a podcast interview that the independent candidate was weighing both exiting the race and backing Trump over Kamala Harris. ABC News reported on Wednesday that sources familiar with RFK Jr.'s campaign confirmed that Kennedy would be exiting the presidential race as early as the end of the week. While he is leaning toward an endorsement of Trump, he has not finalized his decision. Both Kennedy and Trump are slated to appear in Phoenix, Arizona on Friday. So that's interesting. The claim follows revelations that Kennedy's campaign is reportedly running low on funds. Federal Election Commission filings suggest that the campaign is almost broke and spent more money in July than it was able to raise in donations. Kennedy also was excluded from the presidential debates and denied ballot access by several states, including New York. Concrete jungle, wet dream, tomato. Sorry, I had to do that. I don't know if I ever showed you that one. Anyway, yes, I said concrete jungle, wet dream, tomato. Anyway, Kennedy spoke with former President Trump shortly after Trump had been shot by would-be assassin Thomas Matthew Crooks and discussed childhood vaccines, a topic about which RFK Jr. has expressed skepticism. When the call was leaked by RFK Jr.'s son, he apologized directly to Trump, saying he should have told the videographer with him to stop filming. And then there's another article here from PJ Media. The PR value of an RFK endorsement. He was never a serious candidate for all the recent finger wagging about between Democrats and Republicans over who's the weirdest. The runaway winner in the Weirdo Olympics is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Between the creepiness of his personal peccadillos to brainworms to leaving a bear corpse in Central Park, RFK is a very odd duck. Then there's the issue with his voice. I'm not saying that this to be cruel, but the bottom line is that politics is an image-driven enterprise. It's just not good to sound like a lawnmower. But he has a famous name, the faint whiff of legitimacy, and the bankroll of a billionaire, courtesy of his running mate, Nicole Shanahan. That combination isn't enough to take you all the way to the finish line, but it certainly gets your foot in the door. And that was enough to terrify Democrats. So they conspired to undermine his campaign for the Democratic presidential nomination, just as they did to protect Hillary Clinton. They rigged the rules and tilted the playing field. This is what they do. In the past, other Democrats bent their knees accordingly and went along with it. Looking at you, Bernie Sanders. And Democrats assumed RFK would do the same. But that's the thing with weirdos. They're constantly surprising you. Instead of taking his lumps and kissing the crown, RFK Jr. went rogue, launching an independent campaign for the presidency. He had a fun little commercial at the Super Bowl and did all the normal interviews, but his candidacy really went nowhere. Curiously, he was such a weird figure, Republicans and Democrats were unsure how to attack him, or even if they should. Neither side could tell who RFK was helping or hurting. On one hand, he's a Kennedy, for crying out loud, an environmental attorney. That's about as donkeyish as it gets. But then again, his skepticism of COVID vaccines and his chumminess with conservatives gave liberals pause. It's still an open question. Either way, it seems we're going to find out for sure. The rumors are swirling that Kennedy will endorse Donald Trump on Friday. Now, statisticians and pollsters are still crunching numbers and arguing over what they mean, but most evidence indicates that RFK leaving the race would benefit Donald John Trump. This is the week of the Democratic National Convention. Democrats are at the Democrats' high watermark. Their entire strategy is to use Kamala Harris's acceptance speech to kick off their campaign in earnest, delivering Democrats up and down the ticket momentum they'll need to carry them to November. And you can bet your bottom dollar that among the key messages in Harris's speech will be us versus them. but she ain't like us. The power of light to defeat the darkness of evil. It's interesting for all the talk about the GOP being influenced by organized religion. Democrat speaks in apocalyptic prose so often it's almost cliche. They might not believe in revelations, but they sure love the imagery. Now, in politics, momentum is an elusive thing. Sometimes when you lose it, you never get it back. The value of a potential RFK endorsement is that it's dead weight on the Democrats' post-convention momentum. He saps their rocket fuel next week. Instead of everyone talking about the DNC and how beautiful, intelligent, Obama-y Harris was, people will be talking, at least in part, about RFK's endorsement and what the hell it means. That's the final gift we receive from the strange and peculiar Kennedy. Because he's so unusual, we still don't know what the poll numbers truly mean. Everything is debatable. So it'll give us something new to debate on TV instead of talking about Kamala Harris's big moment. Okay, I'm not saying it's the greatest gift in the world, but at least it's better than a dead bear. There you go. So that's from PJ Media. Who wrote that? Scott Pinsker. And then I think I have one more on Kennedy. Oh, no, this is, all right, this is the chaser. There's a couple other articles that'll be in the links, but this one on Kamala Harris doesn't have a policy page. So Trump created one for her. Where is it? Former President Donald Trump's campaign has launched a website describing Vice President Kamala Harris's policies, since her own presidential campaign has yet to include any on her own campaign site. More than 4 weeks after she joined the presidential race following the withdrawal of President Joe Biden, the Democratic Party nominee has yet to list any policies on her site, though she has announced a few economic policies. So Donald Trump, I'm just going to go through the policies he put down, and then we're out of here. Here are the 9 sections as it follows, okay? For Kamala Harris's policy positions on her new policy position website, that she didn't write herself. Number 1, fighting to set murderers free. Well, she did do the, what was that called? Some campaign fund for the BLM protesters, and they ended up releasing a couple people who ended up committing murders. More Bidenomics. It's working. Rising costs are nothing to worry about. Number 3, more taxes to ensure the middle class pays their fair share. Number 4, abolish borders. Yeah, kind of accurate. Number 5, bring back the Green New Deal, which they kind of passed with the Inflation Reduction Act. Number 6, Kamala believes in freedom for individuals associated with violent behavior, formerly referred to as violent criminals. Number 7, ending wrong-headed thinking that more police mean the wrong-headed thinking that more police mean safer communities. Number 8, eliminate private health insurance. And number 9, give Social Security and Medicare to illegal aliens, which is what they do. Yeah, Minnesota Freedom Fund. Thank you, Avocados Diabli. All right, I have several other articles. One, lying Tim Walz wants to be your neighbor, from Free Beacon. Again, Free Beacon, science spouses, and dick jokes. Oh my, the day 2 of the kitchen. Yeah, y'all saw about Obama making a dick joke, like subtly, right? Legal insurrection, DNC Black Caucus. After 70 days, we can go back to acting crazy. Here, this is short.
We got 70 days to act right, y'all. That's right. Now, after 7 days, we can go back to acting crazy.
We have 70 days to act right, but after 70 days, we can go back to acting crazy. Oh, they're suppressing their crazy right now. Is that what it is? PJ Media, looks like the DNC is backfiring on Kamala Harris. Yeah, she's not getting that bump. And in fact, the betting polls are saying Donald Trump's going to win now. Here it is. Polymarket. Donald Trump, 52-47. Just a few days ago, she was up. This is like a 12, 14-point swing. That's wild. In the Federalist, something really demented about Tim Walz lying. Yeah, there's a lot of, he embellishes everything of his career. Like even the football coach thing. I didn't realize, the reason I know he wasn't the head coach at Mankato West is because my son's high school hired their football coach after they won the state championship, their last state championship. And that person was not named Tim Walz. His name was Rick Sutton. He was the head coach. And even though and it's not that he says he was the head coach, but every time he talks about being a coach, and everyone who talks about him being a coach imply that he was the head coach. I just found out that Tim Walz was the freshman football coach. And I had to laugh when I heard that he coached the freshman team. Now, when you are a high school coach, I was a high school basketball coach, okay? For years I coached high school basketball and I just retired from it a few years ago. And I coached the freshman team at my last job was coaching a freshman team at this school in the Twin Cities, a private school. I coached the freshman team. Now I'm part of the coaching staff for high school basketball, and occasionally I'd help out in varsity practices, whatever, but I was the freshman coach. When our varsity team went to the state tournament, I sat on the bench because I was on the coaching staff. I didn't coach the varsity team that made it to the state tournament. I was coaching the freshmen. So anything that the varsity team did, I could not take credit for. And every time he talks, he's like taking credit for things that happened with this team, and then people are saying, "Oh, he was the football coach. They won a state championship." Yeah, he coached the freshman team. He coached the ninth graders. There's all kinds of little exaggerations, little nuanced things that he does. And it's same with his service record. This is the kind of gun I carried when I went to war. You were never in war. You left your unit before they went to war. I was the command sergeant major. Well, you kind of were. You never finished the qualifications, so you never got to retire as a command sergeant major because you left the military, you left the National Guard before you could even complete the full training that would have cemented your E status. So you went from E9 to E8 when you retired because you didn't complete it. So you didn't retire a command sergeant major. So technically you were not one. You never used it because you didn't go to war using that moniker. There's all types of little things that he does that I'm like, wow, you like to embellish your career. So anyway, there's an article in Federalist about it. New York Post, is this exhausting, overlong Democratic convention? Is it convincing voters? Well, apparently it's not necessarily. Daily Caller, Judge strikes down Biden administration rule affecting millions of workers. They struck down so the Biden administration tried to ban non-compete clauses, and a judge has struck that down. Said U.S. District Court Judge Ada Brown for the Northern District of Texas ruled that the Federal Trade Commission banning an entire category of non-competes rather than targeting specific harmful subcategories of the agreements went beyond the commission's mandate to police unfair methods. And I think that is a direct result of the Chevron rule that got struck down by the Supreme Court, that agency had no business making a law, which they kind of did by creating that rule. So good. Make lawmakers make that decision, not some federal agency. And finally, the only other article I've opened, a recession may have already begun. Biden administration admits it overstated employment by nearly 1 million jobs, which is a repeat. I have it in there twice, so we're going to dump that one. All right, that's it. I got to go. Tomorrow, Free For All Friday. If you have, here's what you can do. If you have specific articles, if you have memes, if you have video or anything else that you want me to put on the show tomorrow, if you're on X, the app formerly known as Twitter, you can send it to me there. Or you can email it to me, pdognight@gmail.com, or you can drop something in the comment section and I'll figure it out. But that's it. I got to go. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. I will drop all these links in the chat like I do every day at the end of the show. Oh, wait a minute. Before we leave, thank you, Cryptic, sponsored the show. Dropping a $6 bill in the tip jar. Who says, whore. What is Kamala good? Oh, it's a song. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Let me do this correctly. Whore. Huh. Good God, y'all. What is Kamala good for? Absolutely nothing. God, y'all. Good God, y'all. Okay, I tried to do that right. Is that okay, Cryptic? Thank you very much for sponsoring the show. Whore. Huh. Good God, y'all. What is Kamala good for? Absolutely nothing. Good God, y'all. You all, as they said on, what's that show with Jackie Chan? Anyway, gotta go. Thank you. My name's P-Dog Knight. I'm out of here. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thanks for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.